Good Tuesday afternoon, Oklahoma. It is William Cole here live in the Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV Forecast Center. And I tell you what, folks, it has been a bad fire weather day today across Oklahoma. We are tracking multiple grass fires across the state. And in fact, we now have one rather large out of control grass fire up across parts of northwestern Oklahoma with some evacuations now in progress. So we're going to take a look at that. The rest of your evening forecast coming up as well. And then also we'll be checking in with our team of trackers and taking a look at this fire danger going on across Oklahoma. Now, currently in Oklahoma City, it is 86 degrees, but it's those southerly winds there gusting at 36 that's really creating this fire danger across Oklahoma. So to the live watch and warning map here, again, red flag fire warnings, they're in effect really through this evening for all of north central, western Oklahoma. It does include the Oklahoma City metro. And then also we do continue with those fire weather warnings now up in northwestern Oklahoma with that out of control fire up there. Now, as we take a look at radar here, again, you can see exactly where the smoke plume is. Here's Woodward. So again, this is far northwestern Oklahoma. But again, this is an out of control fire now. Again, latest reports are we have 6 different fire agencies now working this fire. And again, winds in this part of the state now gusting over 50 miles per hour. So this is really what we call a rapid spread fire. Again, on those gusty southerly winds over 50 miles per hour. Again, it's rapidly spreading to the north there. Now, lead storm tracker Phillip McGee, he's actually closing in on that fire. He's up there now just on the southern sides of Woodward. And again, as he's approaching that fire, let's go ahead and bring him on the live line. Phillip, we've got your live stream up. Go ahead and tell us kind of what you're seeing. I know you're still a couple miles to the south there, but go ahead and still give us an update with what you're seeing and kind of what you're hearing on the scanner traffic there as you're approaching that fire.
Okay, William. Yeah, we are just on the southern edges of Woodward right now. But basically what I'm seeing is my whole windshield basically filled with nothing but smoke plume. I mean, this is a amazingly large grass fire that is ongoing up here. And as you said, I've been getting updates on my phone. One of the towns that's being asked to evacuate is going to be Freedom, Oklahoma. And so, there's a lot of residential places up there, farmland ranchers and stuff like that that is going to be affected by this fire as it's rapidly moving up to the north and northeast. Back to you.
All right, lead storm tracker Phillip McGee up there. Again, he's closing in on that fire. We're going to check back with him coming up here in just a few minutes as he gets just a little bit closer. But again, that is, again, just to the north of Woodward. Let's go and put the radar image back up there real quick. And again, what we're seeing here on radar, this is the actual smoke plume or radar actually picking up on the smoke in the sky. And again, you can see where the smoke is originating there. That's north of Woodward, east of Fort Supply. And again, there's Freedom. That's the town of Freedom right there. And again, that's the town that's now being asked to actually evacuate as again, this fire is rapidly spreading to the northeast. So again, not good there. And again, the gusty winds gusting over 50 miles per hour. Again, that's part of the problem. The winds are going to stay fairly gusty heading into the evening. We'll take a look at that momentarily here as well. Now, across the state, no precipitation out there at all right now. We do have some cloud cover starting to move into northwestern Oklahoma. That has to do with our approaching storm system. We might just be able to get a shower or thunderstorm or two to develop just a little bit later on this evening. We'll take a look at that momentarily. But again, here's that area of low pressure. It's going to stay just to the north of Oklahoma. That's what's causing all the crazy winds today. And again, also that could be the focal point for a shower or two, again, a little bit later on this evening. Now, the other big story out there today, minus the winds, minus the really extreme fire danger across the state, it is the temperatures, and it is downright hot across Oklahoma. In fact, we are now approaching 90 degrees down in southwestern Oklahoma. Altus live number right there at 89. But look at northwestern Oklahoma where there's blowing dust and again, that out of control wildfire. Buffalo right now, 89 degrees as well. Again, mid 80s right here in central Oklahoma, and the 80s extend all the way in to eastern Oklahoma there as well. Right here in central Oklahoma, it's currently 86 there in the Midwest City, Del City, Tinker area, 85 down here in Norman, and 85 also over there in the El Reno area. Numbers up around the Tulsa metro, downtown Tulsa, if you are maybe starting to wrap up your workday, currently 86 degrees there, 85 on the southern sides of Tulsa down around the Jinx Riverwalk, 82 for Newada, and look at that, 87 degrees right now in Stillwater there at the OSU campus. Now, as we take a look at the live wind gust map across Oklahoma, you can see exactly why there are big fire problems today up across northwestern Oklahoma. These are live wind gusts here, and again, that southwesterly wind gusting across that part of the state. 45 miles per hour in Woodward, 46 up there in Buffalo, and a 44 coming in from Freedom. And again, those gusty winds along with all the dry vegetation, those low relative humidities today, again, that's what's really causing those fire weather concerns. Now, these are maximum gust, or the highest wind gust any one location is seen today. And look up here across northwestern Oklahoma. Again, still big problems up there. Buffalo, 55 mile per hour wind gust earlier today. Freedom of 51, May Ranch, Alva, both of those locations at 54. So we've had some over 50 mile per hour wind gusts today. Again, mainly up there across northwestern Oklahoma, but again, with the blowing dust, the lower relative humidities, again, fire danger just going off the chart up there. So we're going to skip past the allergy report. We don't have an updated report on that yet, so we're still checking on that. It may be until tomorrow until we have an updated allergy report. So the pinpoint timeline, let's talk about this as well. This is at least the potential as we head into the evening for a couple showers, maybe a couple thunderstorms. Right now, rain chance is not very good, 20% at best. The atmosphere is very dry, but as that area of low pressure scoots right along the Oklahoma-Kansas border tonight, again, we might just be able to get a couple showers to go. So let's go and put this into motion. We're going to start this right now at 4 o'clock, and we're going to run this through the evening into the first part of the overnight period. And again, as we put this into motion, again, you can see the computer picking up on at least the potential for a couple showers, a couple thunderstorms up there. But again, rain chances 20% at best. We need the moisture here in Oklahoma. We need some rain, but the way it looks, this system is not going to be the system to give it to us, unfortunately. Anybody who does see rain tonight or an isolated shower or thunderstorm, again, you folks are very lucky. So the forecast map for overnight tonight, again, the cold front will come sweeping through the state tonight, switching the winds from the south around to the northwest. But look at those northwesterly winds. They're going to remain quite gusty tonight, even heading into tomorrow, 15 to 35 miles per hour. Again, there's that low opportunity for a couple showers, an isolated thunderstorm there across parts of north central and northeastern Oklahoma as we go through the overnight. And these are your overnight lows here. Upper 40s in northern Oklahoma, 53 right here in Oklahoma City, and then a mixture of mid-50s down there along the Red River Valley. Now, for this evening across Oklahoma, the fire danger, yes, it will continue. So again, this is through this evening, but again, you can see this zone of critical that continues up there across northwestern Oklahoma, and even right here in the Oklahoma City metro through at least 10 p.m. this evening. Again, with those gusty winds, the fire danger does remain extreme, again, at least through this evening. So let's talk about tomorrow, Wednesday, across Oklahoma. Again, those northwesterly winds, those will be at play behind the cold front. But again, look at those wind gusts, 20 to 35 miles per hour. So the fire danger remains tomorrow as well. Cooler tomorrow on those northwesterly winds. We're mainly talking about 70s across the state. Fire danger for tomorrow, it actually spreads even a little bit further to the east. Those northwesterly winds will continue to pump in that drier air, so lower relative humidities in eastern Oklahoma, the Tulsa metro, McAllister, even down through Ardmore. You folks are all in the extreme fire danger category tomorrow, and then the Oklahoma City metro and all locations to the west as well. So then as we really head into Thursday, the northerly winds, yes, they will continue. They'll come down a notch, though, in eastern Oklahoma, but still fairly gusty out there in western Oklahoma, especially later on in the day. So really even into Thursday, fire danger will definitely continue across northwestern Oklahoma. A little bit warmer, though, on Thursday, really mid to upper 70s, and then even a few lower 80s starting to pop back up there as well. But again, overall dry with partly cloudy skies there on Thursday. So your updated 10-day forecast, again, for tomorrow, Wednesday, we'll just call it high fire danger. High right around 76, a little bit cooler again on those northwesterly winds. Really still fairly breezy on Thursday as well. High right around 78. Slightly cooler to end the week, but then we'll warm it right back up by the weekend. And really for the weekend, folks, that is our next big storm system we're tracking right now. And the way it looks right now, still an opportunity for some rain and storms in Oklahoma. The potential for some severe weather on Sunday. We're tracking that still very carefully. And then behind that storm as we get into next week, again, cooler temperatures with highs only in the 60s, and potentially another storm trying to show up there by midweek next week. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and switch back over to Phillip McGee's live stream. Again, he's still approaching that fire up there near the Woodward area. Let's go and get this pulled back up here. And again, this is the fire that we're talking about. You're looking at it live here on Mesoscan radar. And again, this is the smoke plume. And again, this is basically where the fire originates. And this is the smoke from the southwesterly winds, again, blowing to the northeast with, again, those winds gusting now over 45 to 50 miles per hour across that part of the state. As we get Phillip's live stream pulled back up here again, he's now approaching Woodward from the south. Phillip, you're on the live line. Go ahead and give us an update with what you're seeing now as you're approaching that fire.
Yeah, William, the fire is actually going to be directly to my north. We're coming in off of 270, so we're south of town here just a little bit, and we're rapidly approaching the fire. We're going to be making a turn back to the north here in just a few minutes, and barring that the residential homes and stuff like that don't inhibit the stream, you should be able to see the actual smoke coming off the backside of this fire. And so we're going to be in perfect position here in just a second for you guys to see that. Back to you.
All right, Phillip McGee, thanks for that update right there. And again, this is the smoke plume that Phillip is talking about as we go back over to live mesoscan radar here. Again, this is a massive smoke plume. This is a massive fire, of course, as well. But again, with radar here, the radar beam is actually picking up on the smoke and the actual fire particulates that are in the air. So this is what we're seeing right here. Again, evacuations now in progress for Freedom up there in northwestern Oklahoma. There's the town of Freedom right there. So this is north of Woodward now, east of Fort Supply. And again, you can see really the origin of the fire right there live on radar. Phillip McGee now approaching from the south. We're going to have some video of that. Again, I can see his live feed right there. Again, he's approaching from the south. And again, we'll take his live shot again coming up here momentarily. But again, not a good situation up there in northwestern Oklahoma. I want to switch back over to wind gust here as well. And in fact, folks, we have a brand new fire warning now in effect. And this is going to be for parts of Logan and also for Lincoln County. Let me go and pull this up as well. Fire danger really going critical now across Oklahoma. Let me go and switch this around real quick here. All right, as we go and get the radar switched around and go back to the live watch and warning map here. Again, a brand new wildfire warning. Again, that's going to be for Logan and Lincoln County. Let me just go and get the details on that here. And let's see, a wildfire was burning out of control near Meridian and also rapidly spreading to the north. And so again, this is going to be people near the Highway 105 south to Forest Hills Road area. But again, this is going to be currently in Logan County. And again, it does continue to rapidly spread. So again, a new wildfire warning. You don't see these very often, folks. These are for out-of-control wildfires. We get them a couple times per year, but again, we currently have two different out-of-control wildfires right now in Oklahoma. Logan County and Lincoln County right there, rather. Again, a brand new wildfire warning there. And then again, the fire that Phillip McGee is on up there in northwestern Oklahoma, Harper, Woods, and Woodward County, a very large out-of-control wildfire up there. So we're going to switch back over to radar here real quick. And Phillip, if you have anything to add, just let me know. Again, Phillip is closing in on that fire there in northwestern Oklahoma. This is the one up just to the north of Woodward. We're actually going to move the radar around. We'll take a look at the one just to the north of the Oklahoma City metro here momentarily as well. But again, this is the one north of Woodward. And again, what you're seeing right here, folks, this is the radar, again, actually picking up on the smoke and the particulates with this fire. So again, with the radar beam, we can actually see the smoke plume there as it's in the air. So again, you can see basically where the fire origin is, where it's burning. And again, with those 45 and 50 mile per hour winds up there in northwestern Oklahoma, again, this is rapidly spreading to the northeast on those winds. Again, we do have evacuations in progress there in the town of Freedom. So again, Phillip McGee, we're going to check his live stream on that and get a live update here momentarily. What I want to do is actually, Phillip, we're going to go and switch over to your live stream. We'll get an update, and then we're going to take a look at the radar imagery from that other fire here momentarily as well. But let me go and pull up your live stream here, and then go ahead and give us an update with where you are right now.
North here in about 2 seconds, and in the stream, you're going to have to give it just a little bit for it to catch up, but you're going to see the wildfire off to the right on my screen. So I'm going to be making that turn here in just 1 second and give the stream time to catch back up. But we're going to kind of go on the outside of Woodward here and miss the metro part so that we can actually get down and get a little bit closer to this fire as we're rapidly approaching it. So you should be able to see the smoke plume on the right hand of the stream right about now. There's going to be a water tower up on top of the hill, and then the smoke is going to be just directly to the right of that, William.
Okay, Phillip, yeah, we see your live stream right there. So again, we can see you approaching there from the south. Just getting some new information in here on that additional wildfire. But here's the plume that Phillip's talking about. So again, sometimes it's a little hard to see there when we're just looking at a live stream. That's a huge plume. It's huge, and we can see that there in the distance as he's passing through the trees. As soon as he gets through the trees, we'll take a look at that again. But this is a large plume, and again, that's what we're seeing on radar. Again, you already saw the large plume on radar, but again, this is it now coming within view here as we're getting a visual on it. And again, this is the large wildfire up there again, basically, unfortunately, burning out of control. Again, evacuations now in progress up there in the small town of Freedom as this wildfire continues to burn up towards the Woods County area. So again, we're now starting to get a visual on it from Phillip McGee, again, live up there in the area. And again, just to kind of give you another perspective here with radar, we're going to check that other fire down closer to the Oklahoma City metro here momentarily as well. But again, just to give you a perspective, this is radar, and this is out of the Vance Air Force Base NEXRAD site, if you will. So it's right over here. So this is a super close radar to this area of the state. But again, the radar is actually picking up on the fire particulates, the ash, the particulates in the air, and also the smoke. So as the radar beam sweeps around, it's actually hitting that. So we can see with radar exactly where this fire is. Again, this is a smoke plume. Again, it's blowing to the northeast. The fire is rapidly moving to the northeast. And again, it all has to do with those winds out there, those winds gusting over 45 miles per hour. Let's go and take a look at live wind speeds up there as well. We'll get back to Phillip McGee's live stream momentarily here as well, as he's getting just a little bit closer to that fire now. But as we take a look at live wind gusts, folks, this is live. These update every 5 minutes off the Oklahoma Mesonet. This is what the problem is up there right now. Look at that. May Ranch, a current wind gust from the southwest at 50 miles per hour. Freedom, a 41 mile per hour wind gust. Even Woodward, 48. So again, that fire has the potential. This is what we call a rapid spread index, where that fire has the potential, at least, to spread to the northeast on those winds at 41 to 50 miles per hour. And those types of fires that are moving that fast are very hard to contain. They're very hard to play defense on if you're a fire official. So a not good situation continues up there in northwestern Oklahoma. Let's go back to Phillip McGee's live stream. Again, it looks like he's still really closing in on this fire now. Hey, Phillip, go ahead and bring us back up to date with what you're seeing up there.
Okay, William, I'm going to pull over. I'm going to stream back so that the folks can actually see. I'm out here by the Woodward County Livestock.
Hey, Phillip, you may want to bump your stream real quick. It looks like it's frozen up. Up there it goes. It looks like it just kicked back in.
Okay. You can see that there's a radar, old radar site there in front of us, and we're at the City of Woodward Public Works. We're looking back to the north and east at that smoke and the smoke plume that we're referring to. We're going to reposition here in just a second and get even closer, or as close as we can get. I know that the fire department and the emergency officials are going to have the road closed off over there, especially approaching towards the Freedom area as that fire approaches that area. But we're going to reposition here in just a second. But I wanted to give the folks an idea of just exactly how big this actually was. Back to you, William.
Okay, Phillip McGee, thank you for that update right there. Let's go back over to radar. And again, just to put this in perspective, folks, again, this is how big this fire is. So again, this is live mesoscan radar here. This is out of the Vance NEXRAD Air Force Base site. So this is a really close radar site. But again, you can see this monster smoke plume, folks. And again, occasionally you will pick up on smoke plumes with live radar. That'll happen from time to time. You don't necessarily see them this big very often. I mean, this is a massive smoke plume. This is a massive fire. And again, it all has to do with those winds gusting 45, 50 miles per hour. This fire continues to rapidly spread to the northeast. Evacuations in progress there in Freedom. And again, unfortunately, this was part of the state that was, again, remember, hit about a week and a half ago with another wildfire that burned out of control out of Oklahoma into parts of southern Kansas. So not a good situation up there. But again, the fire danger up across this part of the state does absolutely remain critical. Now, let's go ahead and check the live watch and warning map again here, because we do have additional wildfire warnings in effect now. And again, some of these are a little bit closer to the Oklahoma City metro. So you don't see these wildfire warnings too often in Oklahoma. We do get them a couple times per year, but what a wildfire warning is, it's different than a red flag fire warning. Red flag fire warnings, which a lot of the states under right now, means fire conditions are there and exercise extreme caution. Wildfire warning means a wildfire is happening and it's out of control. And we have two of them now out of control in Oklahoma. Again, one of them right here in Logan County near the Meridian area. So wildfire warning for Logan and Lincoln County. And then also the larger one up there in northwestern Oklahoma with wildfire warnings up there as well. That's going to be for Harper, Woods in Woodward County, and again, that's the fire rather. That again, lead storm tracker Phillip McGee is on. So let's do this. Let's go and check back with Phillip's stream. He's getting a little bit closer to that fire, and again, we'll show you the radar imagery there as well of that fire burning in northwestern Oklahoma, there north of the Woodward area. Again, that's the smoke plume from the fire. But hey, Phillip, you're back on the live line with us. We're getting your stream pulled back up here. I know you're getting a little bit closer to that fire. Tell us what you're seeing now as you continue to approach it there from the south.
Okay, William. Yeah, just like you're saying, this is a massive ongoing wildfire right now. Extremely dangerous. There's livestock that's going to be involved in this. There's homes going to be involved in this. Hopefully, there's no injuries. That everybody got out in plenty of time. But like you said, the evacuation process and freedom, that smoke plume is going directly towards that area as well as the fire. We're going to make it up here. I believe it's Highway, I want to say 34. I'm not exactly sure on it. My GPS is still out a little ways. And it will make a jaunt towards the north there, headed directly towards the town of Freedom. And this thing just basically, the whole entire smoke plume fills your windshield the minute that you turn and you face it. And you can see the ongoing, areas of smoke where, extremely large flames. The winds up here, William, I stuck my anemometer out the window just a second ago and was measuring 48 mile an hour wind speed. These fires are rapidly moving to the north and east. As you're looking at the fire itself, as it's traveling over the land, it gets into areas that may be heavier populated with trees and stuff, and therefore just creates even more smoke, especially up in this area because there are a lot of cedars and everything else. And from previous wildfires that have happened around the state of Oklahoma, we know that those things, especially this time of year, just basically act like gasoline. And so it's only fueling these fires. Back to you, William.
All right, lead storm tracker Phillip McGee up there in northwestern Oklahoma. Of course, he's in the Oklahoma Customs official storm tracking truck powered by Verizon. But Phillip, I appreciate that update. Hey, so we actually widened out the view here just a little bit more, just to continue to put this into perspective. Look how massive this smoke plume is. Again, this is all smoke. This is ash. This is ember in the air there as well. And again, this is from this extremely large wildfire. This is a really bad deal up there, unfortunately, for our friends in northwestern Oklahoma. And Phillip really had it right on the head when he mentioned the livestock, the cattle, especially across this part of Oklahoma. Again, those are all things you have to factor in. We don't have any reports of any cattle or livestock being, injured, unfortunately, in this. But again, those are things you have to think about. That is the potential that is there for sure across this part of the state. And again, keep in mind that fire also still tracking towards the Freedom area, again, with evacuations now in progress there for the small town of Freedom. So again, you can see exactly where the fire is there with that massive smoke plume. Again, still a lighting up radar there in northwestern Oklahoma. Again, our lead storm tracker, Phillip McGee, he's on it. It looks like, we'll go back to his live stream real quick here. It looks like he'll be making a turn here fairly quickly, so we're able to get a better visual of the fire. Again, the way he's driving right now, it looks like the fire is going to be just off to his northeast. But Phillip, again, you're still approaching this fire there in northwestern Oklahoma. Again, it doesn't look like we have a shot of it in your a visual of it on your shot there. Go ahead and tell us, are you about to make a turn so we can get a better look at that fire here fairly quickly?
Yeah, I am actually. I'm rapidly approaching the town of Moreland, and of course there's a highway that leads directly up to Freedom from that area. We're going to be turning left here in just a second. But another thing that I also wanted to, and I just seen, they actually kind of appeared out of the smoke, but it looks like to me that there's going to be a wind farm that's going to be affected with that also, William. I can see the towers up there. I actually still see some of the big windmills turning. So it hasn't reached them yet, but I would assume, once we get a little bit closer, we'll be able to see for sure, but it looks like that some of those might have actually been completely involved in that big fire. So
And Philip, let me tell you this: those wind turbines up there. Let me tell you this real quick. That's not good if those get involved in those fires, because there's a lot of hazardous material, and a lot of times people don't realize that. But there's actual hazardous material and fluid in those windmills that actually lubricate them to keep them turning. So again, if those actually get involved in the fire, that would not be good. But again, there is actually material and liquids within those windmills that again lubricate them and do other things for them as well. And again, that's highly flammable stuff we're talking about with those windmills. So that would not be a good deal, again, if it is actually moving through that wind farm right there. Now I want to go and take a look at live wind gusts here again. And Philip, we're going to get you right back on the live line. Tell me if you have anything new to add. And again, we'll switch right back over to you. I'm just looking at your live shot there. But again, as we take a look at live wind gusts, again, this has been the problem, folks, up there across northwestern Oklahoma. Look at these wind gusts. These are live numbers here. Woodward, a wind gust from the southwest at 49 miles per hour. Freedom 45, May Ranch 47. Again, that's what's giving this fire its rapid spread index is what we call it, where it is rapidly spreading from the southwest to the northeast. And again, it actually has the potential to move at 45 to 50 miles per hour. And think about how far downstream some of those embers are getting. So, as the fire burns up, it has those little particulates, those little embers. And again, on those 45 to 50 mile per hour winds, those are getting blown way downstream as those land. If they land on anything flammable, of course, you have whole new fires starting. So this is a really potent situation now up there across northwestern Oklahoma, and that is not a good situation at all. Let's go back to radar here real quick, just to kind of give you again, kind of an overview of what we're seeing up there. And I'm going to go and zoom this out. And again, I know we're looking at radar. We normally use this for precipitation, but the other thing you can do with radar is you can actually use it for fire conditions if the fire is close enough to the radar. So we're looking out of the Vance Air Force Base and NEXRAD site right there in Alfalfa County. So this is a close radar. And again, what we're seeing here, this is the smoke plume. These are the embers. Those are the particulates now burning up from the fire. But look how huge the smoke plume is. You can see in real time exactly where the origin is of the fire. You can see it rapidly burning to the northeast, unfortunately close to and approaching now the town of Freedom. But again, that right there, folks, that is all smoke, ash, and embers from the fire lifting up into the atmosphere and lifting up there into parts of Kansas. So again, not a good situation. Let's go back to Philip McGee's live stream, and let's also get a live update from him as well as he's closing in on this fire. Philip, you're on the live line.
Yeah, William, as you were doing the update there, you actually gave me a couple more thoughts as we were going about that. Alabaster Caverns is up there, not too far from Freedom. I believe it's a little bit to the south, maybe by 8 miles or so. And so this is the time of year, that people are going to be going up, going through the tours and stuff like that right there. And not only that, but the smoke itself is going to create a driving hazard, and I was mistaken. I said Highway 34. I actually meant a Highway 50 headed north towards Freedom. We're on Highway 50 now, basically, and it's going to be kind of hard to make out. You can see the darker area, and that is all going to be that smoke that is just infiltrating up towards Freedom, Oklahoma right now. And then back behind that, you've had some higher base clouds, so you can kind of get the distinguishing marks of the actual smoke plume. We're going to be coming out on the north end of Freedom here in just a second. There's a couple of bends that we're going to have to go around, but then you'll really be able to get a good shot of the smoke plume and everything that's being affected. Like I said, I've seen the wind towers inside, and some of them didn't look to be involved in the active fire, but I know from being up here in this area a little bit that I believe they go back to the north and the west, and if that's a fact, there is a potential that they're being involved in that. Back to you, William.
Yeah, and like we just mentioned, Philip, that would not be a good situation if, unfortunately, those wind farms or those windmills actually get involved in this fire. Again, because there is actual, there's lubricant, there's a lot of other different materials that are used in those windmills, and some of those materials are flammable. So, I mean, if you've ever driven by them, especially if you're going out I-40, you look off, really look off to the south, you see the wind farms there, and again, if you look at them carefully, all that black stuff that's dripping down them, that's all lubricant, that's all other material that's being used in those those windmills. And again, that stuff is flammable, folks. So that's one thing you got to keep in mind. And those windmills will actually, the potential at least is some of that material will burn in those things. Let's go back over to Philip's live stream. We had switched off of it for just a minute just because it had frozen up there. But again, Philip, lead storm tracker Philip McGee, again, still approaching this fire there from the south. And again, as he's making this turn, it looks like really the smoke and the embers from this wildfire, it's really starting to show up. There it is right there in the corner of his screen. So you can see the high base clouds, the white clouds, the darker color you're seeing there. Again, that's the smoke plume. And again, that does not look good, folks, at all. Again, you can actually see that's probably the fire origin right over there. Again, Philip's still just a little ways away from it. But again, this is all the smoke plume. That's all ash. That's all embers there in the air. And again, that's all downstream from the fire. Let me show you this on radar here as well. And again, just to give you a different perspective, again, weather radar can also pick up on fire. It's basically picking up on the particulates, the ash, the smoke in the air. And again, that's what we're picking up on here across parts of northern Woodward County. And then again, the smoke plume is lifting all the way into parts of Kansas. But again, you can actually see this fire burning up to the northwest, approaching now the town of Freedom, where evacuations are in progress. Philip, let's go back over to your live stream. You're really closing in on it now. And let's go and get you back on the live line. Give us an update. You're approaching that fire now from the south, just to the south of Freedom.
Yeah, absolutely, William. The main part of the smoke plume is what you're seeing in the actual live stream. The main part of the fire is going to be back to the south and the west. As a matter of fact, the airport is going to be up here just a little ways. As a matter of fact, I'm passing it right now. But you're going to see the area that is actually still burning from behind. There's just a tremendous amount of acres that are being consumed by this fire. As a matter of fact, I'm going to pull over up here in just a second once I get to a good clear spot, and I'm going to shoot back to the north and west and just give the folks a great idea of how massive this actual fire is. Back to you.
Okay, Philip McGee, appreciate the update there. It looks like your stream froze just momentarily. If at all possible, Philip, I would keep moving to the north just to get a little bit closer to that fire, because I tell you what, it's spreading so quickly. If I was you, I would go ahead and get up there just a little bit closer to it. But again, this fire continues to track off to the northeast. And again, this is an out-of-control wildfire with evacuations now in progress up near the town of Freedom up there in northwestern Oklahoma. As we take a look at live radar there, again, you can see the smoke plume. You can see basically exactly where the fire is originating out there in northern Woodward County. And again, it is now tracking up towards the small town of Freedom. Livestock potentially in this area as well. We've got to keep them in mind. And also a wind farm, Philip McGee mentioned there as well, as again, this out of control wildfire is burning to the northeast. Winds up there 45 to 50 miles per hour, fairly common. Let's go back to live wind gusts here real quick. Let me go and pull those up again, and we'll take a look at what's going on up there. But look at these winds, and they're all just focused right up there in northwestern Oklahoma. Again, 47 mile per hour wind gusts. These are live numbers, not hourly, but these are live numbers here at May Ranch. A 47 mile per hour wind gust, a 49 for Woodward. And again, that's giving that fire an opportunity to spread to the north at 45 to 50 miles per hour. Again, that's fairly hard to contain, folks. So again, firefighters from 6 different agencies working extremely hard up there to get this under control. But again, with that rapid spread potential there to the northeast, again, not a good situation unfolding. Just to give you kind of an aerial outline of, again, the areas that we're talking about again. This is up here in northwestern Oklahoma. The Oklahoma City Metro would be right back down in here. So here's the Oklahoma City Metro right here. We're talking about far northwestern Oklahoma. This is the smoke plume being picked up on radar. The fire, the origin of the fire centered right about there. Again, rapidly moving to the northeast, potentially near the town of Freedom, with evacuations now in progress there in Freedom. Again, there's the smoke plume. This is really the ash, the embers, the smoke coming off the fire. Again, it is now being blown what we call downstream to the northeast on those southwesterly winds. And again, smoke, again, continuing to track up there to the northeast. So let's go and take a look at Philip McGee's live stream again here. He's just to the south of that fire now. And again, he's really rapidly approaching it from the south now. Hey, Philip, you're back on the live line with us. Go ahead and give us an update. Tell us what you're seeing as you're approaching that fire now from the south.
Okay, yeah, William, exactly what you were saying. You pretty much hit the nail on the head whenever you forecast this also. You had this hash mark up here in this critical area, and like you were saying just a second ago, these winds are just ferocious up here right now, only making things extremely difficult for the firefighters that are out on this fire. Like you said, moving 40 to 45 miles per hour it's hard for them to stay up with that. And so, we're rapidly approaching, as a matter of fact. We're going to be coming down off of this little hill right now, and it opens up into just a basic wide open area. And I mean, it is just phenomenal, the amount of smoke. Dark. I mean, you can tell that it is just engulfing every single thing. I mean, it is a vicious monster that is eating everything in its path, to be honest with you. Back to you, William.
Phillip McGee, thanks for that live update. Lead storm tracker Phillip McGee, and again, he's approaching from the south. He's just a couple miles now to the south. Everything really coming into view here, folks. This is basically what we were seeing on radar, that humongous smoke plume coming up. Again, smoke, ash, embers, all associated with that right there. And the thing you have to remember, folks, is some of those embers, those little pieces of the fire that blow up, they're still hot. You see them, if you've ever been camping, you see the little embers come up. It's the same thing with these wildfires, but they're only bigger. And with these 45 and 50 mile per hour winds, those little embers, they're blown downstream. And if they land on some of this dried out vegetation, they can restart additional fires downstream. And again, that's how these fires spread so quickly. But again, that's what we're seeing. Look at that humongous dark smoke cloud there. And Phillip, you're on the live line now. Tell us again, you're approaching the town of Freedom, is that correct? Tell us, give us kind of a perspective as to where you are exactly and where you think this fire is. Because again, the town of Freedom, there are evacuation orders in place now for the town of Freedom. Now you're approaching Freedom from the south. Tell us exactly where you think the fire is in relation to the town of Freedom up there.
And the fire is going to be almost exactly due southwest of Freedom by a couple of miles. And like I said before, Alabaster Caverns is also going to be in that encompass zone there. Also because it's only about, like I said, 9 miles from that, and that is a state park. I mean, people camp there all the time. And may not even have any means other than seeing it visually to get out of those canyon areas and stuff like that, So definitely need to be aware of what is going on. The fire itself is only maybe a mile or two back to my north and west, and we're going to be coming up on Alabaster Caverns here in just a few minutes. And so Freedom definitely is in the danger zone, that's for sure, 100%. And so, that's a perfect call for them to have the evacuation orders in progress right now. But we're going to be able to see, you can see the glow on the actual smoke from fire that is burning so high here in just a second as we make a kind of a left-hand turn here and get a lot closer to this fire. We're rapidly approaching from the south on Highway 50, and back to you, William.
Okay, Lead Storm Tracker Phillip McGee, great update there for us. We're staying with your live stream. We're going to take a look at radar again here in a second, just to kind of give you a perspective again. Some estimates we're getting in here in the forecast center that, again, this fire continues to really continue to spread, if you will, or advance forward a fourth of a mile every 5 minutes is the reports we're getting here in the forecast center. So, again, this is moving extremely quickly on those winds up there, 45 to 50 miles per hour. And, again, Phillip McGee basically now arriving up there. Again, you see this massive smoke plume, all not a good situation. Again, wildlife potentially at risk up there. Again, we've had reports potentially a wind farm at risk. And then, of course, as it gets closer to the town of Freedom, of course, unfortunately, we don't want to see any property damage in this fire at all. But again, it is getting closer to the town of Freedom. But again, you can just tell how out of control this wildfire is, again, with that monster smoke plume there. Let's go back over to live mesoscan radar here real quick as well. And as we take a quick view of radar, again, what we're doing, we're basically looking for smoke, we're looking for ash, we're looking for embers here with radar. And again, this is what it's showing. And you can see the smoke plume, you can see exactly where the fire is now originating, just to the southwest of Freedom. And again, the smoke, the ash, the embers from the fire, again, blowing up into parts of Kansas. So again, this is all smoke from the fire, this is all the smoke plume. And again, if you look carefully, you can see exactly where the fire is originating. And again, you can also see how quickly over the last 30 minutes, how quickly this fire is spreading to the northwest, again on those 45 and 50 mile per hour winds. Now, let's go right back over to Phillip McGee. Let's get his live stream back up here. And again, Phillip, the pictures continue to get more dramatic now as you're approaching that fire. Go ahead and give us an update again as you're getting a little bit closer there.
The only thing that I can say, William, right now is absolutely amazing This firestorm is just a monster. I can't describe, what it looks like visually. I mean, we're doing a good job as far as the stream and everything else, but it does not paint the picture that I'm physically seeing right now.
Phillip, I absolutely believe it. And again, the pictures we're seeing there, again, just absolutely dramatic. Now, how far are you away, again, from the town of Freedom? Again, that's really at least the town that we're most concerned about with now, with the evacuation orders in place there for Freedom. As you're getting a little bit closer, how close would you say this fire would be to the town of Freedom? Again, it's all a guesstimate. You're still, again, on the southern sides of it. But again, as you're kind of looking at everything there, you're looking at your GPS. I mean, in your best guesstimate, how far away is this fire from Freedom right now?
I would say within 9 miles, William.
So it's definitely getting much closer and closer and closer is basically what you're saying. Now, other than that,
I'm approaching Alabaster Caverns now. The water tower, basically up here on top of the hill, is going to be the turn-in, or relatively close to the turn-in to Alabaster Caverns. And then the next turn is going to be, or the next town is going to be Freedom. And so we're going to make a sharp right turn up here on Highway 50, and then it cuts back to the north, and then that's the entrance to the state park. And to my left, within just a couple of miles, is the fire rapidly approaching the Freedom area.
Phillip, appreciate that update there. And I mean, as we look at this video again, very, very dramatic video. Again, this is all smoke, ash, and ember right there. Again, wind gust up there in northwestern Oklahoma. 45 to 50 miles per hour right now. Again, we have 5 to 6 to 7 different fire departments or fire agencies now battling this fire. But the bad news is that when you have wind gusts 45 to 50 miles per hour, that gives this fire the potential to spread at 45 to 50 miles per hour. So again, this fire, it's moving extremely quickly. The fire folks up there are really working as hard as they can right now to bring this under control. But again, obviously this is still a wildfire. It's an out of control wildfire. And again, unfortunately, it's getting very much closer to the small town of Freedom up there in northwestern Oklahoma. Phillip McGee, he's got eyes on it. He's there live. And again, Phillip, I know you just kind of took the corner there. So again, all the smoke that we're tracking, it's all over here. Now we're going to get a better visual here in a minute. But again, the large smoke plume now just off to Phillip's left-hand side of the screen there. But Phillip, go ahead and give us an update with what you're seeing again as you're just a couple miles away from that fire now.
Yeah, absolutely, William. Like we were talking about, travel up here, I would discourage completely, not only for the emergency folks that are trying to get this fire taken care of, but, it is a dangerous situation whenever you drive into that thick smoke. You can create an accident for one. Number one, become overtaken by the smoke because it is so thick that there's no way that your recirculation filter on your vehicle would be able to filter all of that out, and you're going to put yourself in a horrible situation in a matter of just a few minutes. I would assume that the authorities have it all blocked off and won't allow people to drive through that. But I'm traveling on Highway 50, and I have not yet come upon any kind of emergency vehicles that is shutting down any kind of traffic flow.
Hey, Phillip, I hate to interrupt you. Let me ask you something real quick here. Two things, actually, real quick. How far away are you from Freedom? First of all, how far away are you from Freedom? And also, just for our viewers here, is there any way that you could potentially turn your camera maybe just a little bit to the left, and again, just so we can see the smoke plume, just to put it in perspective. Again, if you're just joining us here on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV, just right before 4:45 here live on this Tuesday afternoon, Oklahoma time. And again, we are tracking this large wildfire up in northwestern Oklahoma. Our lead storm tracker, Phillip McGee, he's up there on it. Let me do this real quick. Let me show you live radar. Let me go and put this in a perspective and show you how out of control this wildfire is. Of course, in northwestern Oklahoma today, we've had wind gusts 45 to 50 miles per hour today. The wildfire that started, probably about 2 hours ago now, it has rapidly spread to the northeast on those 45 and 50 mile per hour winds. So again, keep in mind this fire has the potential to spread 40 and 50 miles per hour to the northeast. That's why it's out of control. And again, we have 7 different fire agencies now working to get it under control. With radar, this is the actual smoke plume. This is the ash. This is the embers associated with that fire. And again, it's all being blown downstream there on those southwesterly winds. Now, let me go and pull lead storm tracker Phillip McGee's live stream back up. And this is very dramatic video coming up here now, folks. This puts it into perspective. Phillip, give us an update as we're now looking at this fire again, just dead on. And look at the tumbleweed there blowing in the distance as well, right there in front of Phillip as well. But Phillip, tell us how far you are away from Freedom, and again, give us an update on the fire now as well.
Okay, William, I'm 6 miles from Freedom. I am right basically at the Alabaster Tavern entrance. I'm looking back to the north and west as the smoke is, and the fire is basically, just rapidly overtaking. And, another thing that we forgot to bring up is if you look, there's oil field tank batteries all around this area, so there's no telling what actually is going on in and around all of those places where they drill these wells, the wind tower that we've already talked about, and this area is basically a high point. I'm sitting on top of a mountain right now, or a hill, and the winds up here are probably gusting to 50, 55 miles per hour, William. And, it is just totally unbelievable what is actually unfolding right in front of everybody's eyes.
Phillip, yeah, this is absolutely dramatic. This is very dramatic. Again, you can see right there in front of Phillip. Again, if you look carefully, again, you can see the brush waving in the wind. So again, that's going to be the high velocity, 45, 50 mile per hour winds right there. And again, that is what's basically, again, spreading that fire. But, looking at this is almost like a thunderstorm would be looking at. This almost looks like a low base mesocyclone. This isn't a storm. This is a firestorm in a sense, and really, but again, this is a wildfire out of control up there in northwestern Oklahoma. But again, that video right there, putting it in real perspective, again, from Phillip McGee up there in northwestern Oklahoma. So he's getting back on the interstate. He's going to continue northbound, getting closer to Freedom. So again, the small town of Freedom up there, evacuations in place, again, because of this fire rapidly spreading towards the town of Freedom. So again, Phillip back on the road. So again, all the action is still off to his left. We're going to get a better shot of that coming up here again momentarily. But again, let me do this real quick. Let's also go ahead and take a look at wind gust, because this is the problem right here. Let me go and show you why we're having so much trouble containing this fire up there in northwestern Oklahoma. And it's because of these winds. And look at these wind speeds. Just first of all, look at the colors on the maps. We're going from green all the way to red and dark red. All the wind today, the high velocity winds, it's focused right up there in northwestern Oklahoma with the dry vegetation, relative humidities there, 20% and less. Again, that's all the fire ingredients really basically coming together and focusing up there in northwestern Oklahoma. But Buffalo, a current wind gust of 50, May Ranch 49, even Freedom, a current wind gust there of 38. So again, that's giving that fire the potential to spread 40 to 50 miles per hour. And again, that's why it's just completely out of control. As we go back over to Phillip McGee's live video, again, he's still just south of the small town of Freedom. Phillip, go ahead and give us another update there. You're getting a little bit closer to Freedom. Again, that's where the evacuations are now in place.
Yeah, well, you probably couldn't have summed it up any better. As far as it looking like a low-base mesocyclone. We've been on some pretty ugly storms since we've been out and live streaming things back to folks. And, I would compare this more than anything to probably one of the most scariest-looking things in my whole life. Back to you.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree, Phillip. And you may check your live stream there just real quick. It looks like it froze momentarily. But again, just to put this into perspective, here's Phillip McGee's live GPS location. So again, like we mentioned, everything kind of looked like it was to the left on the screen. That's because that's where all the active fire weather is there, just to his left. There's his live GPS. There's the small town of Freedom, evacuations in order there. But again, that's where Phillip McGee is. And again, as we shoot back off to the west here momentarily, in fact, he's just turning. We're going to get this pulled back up here. Again, you can see the very dramatic video coming back in. Let's go and switch back over here to Phillip McGee's video. And again, Phillip, this really looks quite dramatic. Again, you can basically see the origin now of the fire. So this is going to be the origin of the fire. That's where the fire is actually burning. This is the ash, the embers, the smoke now lifting up, and again, being blown downstream 45 to 50 miles per hour there. Phillip, you're back on the live line. Go ahead and give us an update, but very dramatic pictures now coming in.
Yeah, absolutely, William. You can see in the stream how fast that smoke and those burning embers, like you were talking about, are moving across these open plains up here, you know. And if you look at the stream, you can see intermittently these little bitty dark spots that are going to be out prior to where the fire's at. And those are going to be those cedar trees that we were just talking about. You know, and we've gone over that a lot here just recently, but as a matter of fact, I can actually see flames right now, William. I'm going to move just a little bit, but back on the hill, directly in front of me, I may have to zoom in a little bit, see if I can get this live for the people, but you can see the fire moving across the hill. Just to the right of the screen, you can see the fire right there, William, right in front of us, live on OklahomaWeatherTracker.com, Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV.
Yeah, that's some fairly dramatic video coming in right there, Phillip, absolutely. But I mean, he's absolutely right. You can see, so there's some of the flames right there. So this is the origin of the fire right there. And again, everything basically burning up into the sky. So not a good situation. It still looks like, at least from what we're seeing right there, it's still over what we would call grassland or farmland in that area. But the thing you have to keep in mind, of course, there's livestock, there's other things, you know, you definitely have to think about. And then in general, this continues to move towards the small town of Freedom. So hopefully this doesn't hit any structures. We don't have any confirmation of it hitting any structures yet, but again, hopefully it does stay away from structures. But again, you can see, again, the origin of that fire there, and again, basically where the flames are. Again, this continues to spread rapidly to the northeast there at, again, 40 to 50 miles per hour. So again, this wildfire continues out of control, but again, very dramatic video there coming in from Phillip McGee, our lead storm tracker, again, in the Oklahoma Customs official storm tracking truck powered by Verizon. And again, Phillip, just give us another estimate here. How far south of Freedom are you? Because this is, you know, really concerning now as this fire is getting much closer now to the small town of Freedom. Again, how far to the south are you, and how far south would you estimate those flames are right now from Freedom?
I am probably 4 miles south of Freedom, Oklahoma, and the flames are probably going to be about 6 miles away. And as you can see, they're just undulating over these hills and everything else right now, William, as these high-velocity winds, you know, move everything, like you said, at 40 to 45 miles per hour, you know, so just incredible, you know, speed on these flames themselves. You know, it's just amazing, to be honest with you. I can't think of any other words that would describe it. So now, and the thing about it is, this is going to be on the southeasterly flank of the main part of the firestorm here, and so that potentially itself, if it moves across these open plains here, you can see directly out in front of us, that is going to definitely create a huge problem for the town of Freedom.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Phillip. I mean, you really hit that right on the money. And again, really, let's switch back over to radar here just real quick, folks, just to give everybody kind of an overview again of exactly where we're talking about. So again, this is far northwestern Oklahoma. This is where we have the out of control wildfire. I'm going to zoom this out. So just to kind of geographically orient you, even for those of you who may not be familiar with Oklahoma, here's Oklahoma City right back down in here. So we're talking about northwestern Oklahoma, and we're actually looking at this with live weather radar here. And the neat thing about weather radar is, besides picking up on rain, precipitation, it can also pick up on fires if it's close enough to the radar. And what we're seeing here, this is actually smoke, ash, and embers from the fire, little particulates as they come up in the air. Again, the radar beam is actually hitting those, and we're seeing exactly where the smoke plume is. We can also see in real time exactly where the fire's originating. So we're able to track exactly where the actual flames are. Again, that's where all the smoke is originating from. And then again, moving to the northwest, that's Phillip McGee's live GPS location. So he's right there on the fire. He's just to the south there of the small town of Freedom. And again, that's where we currently have evacuations in place, again, in Freedom, Oklahoma. Now, we're going to get back to Phillip's video here in just a second, his live stream, but I want to actually pull up live wind gust here as well. And again, this kind of shows you exactly the problem that we're having up there. is, again, it's these winds. And again, we're still getting, and these are live wind gusts, right? These aren't like updated every hour. These are actual live gusts here. But again, Freedom, the town we're concerned about right now with evacuations in place, current wind gusts from the southwest at 40, Woodward 47, May Ranch 45. And so again, this is giving that fire the potential, at least, to spread from the southwest to the northeast at 40 to 50 miles per hour. Again, with all the crews that are on it, battling it right now. Of course, you can see that's one of the reasons they're having trouble containing it, is because it's moving so quickly there off to the northeast. So let's get back to Phillip McGee's video. Again, very dramatic video still coming in from Phillip McGee. He's just to the south again of this fire. So let's go and get his video pulled back up. And Phillip, also go ahead and give us an update here. Again, you're just south of Freedom. You're still on the fire, and you're back on the live line here with us.
Okay, William. Yeah, I'm relocating one more time. I'm actually coming down off of the hilltop. The river is going to be up here just at the base of these hills, and then Freedom is going to be directly to the north of that. And we're going to reposition. We're going to get to the town of Freedom, and then we're going to shoot back to the north, or excuse me, to the southwest as this town rapidly, or this fire rapidly approaches the town of Freedom, Oklahoma. So basically, the smoke plume, William, is going directly over, maybe just a little bit to the north. And, you know, I'm going to be honest with you. I think that, you know, I'm not going to say it 100%, but Freedom might be okay, to be quite honest with you. I mean, if that one area that we were just streaming back a while ago does take off, then it's potentially going to cause a lot of problems for Freedom. You know, they have that evacuation process in place right now, and so it looks like the people are adhering to that for sure. But we're going to be streaming back here to the west.
Hey, Phillip, just real quick, are you coming in? Are you actually coming into the town of Freedom right now? Are you approaching Freedom right now from the south?
Yes, I am. I am in the town of Freedom right now.
Okay, so this is the town we actually have the evacuation order in place. Now, as Phillips is actually driving live through Freedom, so this is what we really got to look at. Are we seeing any kind of fire officials? I mean, I know we're getting the reports of the evacuation in place, but again, we're obviously still seeing people driving through the streets. Phillip, are you seeing anybody maybe outside of their house looking around? I mean, does it look like the city's actually been evacuated? I mean, kind of give us a play-by-play as you're driving through actually Freedom. And again, this is the town where we have the actual evacuation order in place.
Yeah, absolutely, William. And I was just back as I was passing through town. I just looked, and there was a lady that was out, and she had all of her sprinklers going at once. She's not adhered to the evacuation at all, and you know, potentially putting herself in a really dangerous situation because this fire is so big that, you know, any amount of watering that you would put down or anything like that is only going to get evaporated almost immediately. And so I'm going to actually pull over and face back to the west again, William. And you can see here on my stream here in just a second, you know, how close this is actually coming to the town of Freedom, Oklahoma. So give me 1 second. I want to relocate here and stream back to the west, southwest.
Okay, and while you're doing that, Phillip's just repositioning really quickly there. He's turning his camera around so we can get it in full view. Again, I just want to show the overview again here on radar. Again, if you're just now joining us here on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV, just before 5 o'clock here Oklahoma time, we have a wildfire out of control in northwestern Oklahoma, and we actually have wind gusts in northwestern Oklahoma today over 50 miles per hour. And again, this out of control wildfire is now spreading rapidly to the northeast. We have evacuation orders in place for a small town of Freedom in northwestern Oklahoma. Let me give you the overview here on radar. And the reason we're actually showing you radar, number one, is to kind of orient you. This is where we're talking about the Oklahoma City metro right down in here. This is far northwestern Oklahoma, the Oklahoma-Kansas border there. And again, this fire is actually showing up on radar. The smoke, the ashes, the particulates coming up, the radar beam is actually hitting it, and in real time we can actually see where the fire is, where it's originating, and then also the smoke plume, this large smoke plume coming off of the fire, moving across the Oklahoma border into parts of Kansas. Now, our lead storm tracker, Phillip McGee, he's been up there on this fire now for at least the last couple hours. Let me go back to his live stream. He's also on the live line. So Phillip is in the town of Freedom looking at this fire. And Phillip, how far away is this fire now from Freedom? And again, looking at your video, again, give us just an update since you've kind of repositioned there. And again, you're looking off now to the southwest.
Okay, William. Yeah, the fire is actually going to be probably about 4 miles now south and southwest of the town of Freedom, Oklahoma. It's moving north and northeast. It looks like that it might have turned just a little bit more to the north, and it's going to be crossing. I mean, it's crossing across. Just a vast amount of plains up here that is nothing but dry grass and cedar trees. And so, that is supple enough fuel for this thing just to sustain itself. And with these high velocity winds that are coming across here, I mean, it's just amazing. I can't express, what I'm actually seeing visually to the folks through the video stream. It is just totally amazing.
Thanks for that update there, Phillip. Real quick, I just want to switch from your stream again here just momentarily. And again, I want to take a look at live wind gusts because, again, this is part of the problem, folks. This is really the biggest piece of the ingredients for this fire weather up there across northwestern Oklahoma today. But again, you can see this red and dark red bullseye up there. And again, these are all high velocity winds, 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts. And again, these are live wind gusts here. Woodward, a current wind gust of 47. Freedom, a current wind gust of 40, and again, that's what's giving this fire the potential, at least, again, to spread to the northeast at 40 to 50 miles per hour, and again, that's why the fire crews are having such trouble, again, getting it under control. Now, the other thing to notice as we take a look at Phillip's video, again, look at how dry everything still looks up there. Again, you're seeing a lot of that brown vegetation. Of course, we're getting into spring now, but we haven't had much in the way of spring rain, so everything still looks fairly brown up here, and again, that is basically just fuel for the fire to burn and to continue to burn as well. But again, now what we're seeing here, and I know sometimes it's a little bit hard to see, there's not a lot of clarity here, but again, we're seeing that white going to darker colors. Again, that is the smoke plume, and again, that's the ash, the smoke, the embers rising up from that fire right there. So let's go back to Phillip McGee. He's still up there now near the town of Freedom, in fact, just south of Freedom. And Phillip, you've been looking at this fire now for a while. Give us an update with what you're seeing up there.
To be quite honest with you, it actually looks like the fire is kind of picked back up. The smoke has really gotten a lot thicker here in the last couple of minutes. And folks here in the town of Freedom really should take these evacuation processes serious. If you look in the stream, you can see some folks sweating down the rooftops and stuff like that. But the flames and the fire that I seen just a second ago that was going to be moving across the top of the river, Cimarron River, like we had talked about, those embers are going to be translated across the top of this higher plane down to this lower area, and I'm potentially can catch things right back on fire again. Hey,
Phillip, I hate to interrupt you, but just real quick, I want to point this out just real quick. Look at that blowing dust there. Look at that blowing dust, and that looks like a piece of farm equipment that's moving, but look how quickly, again, those winds, 45 and 50 miles per hour, look how it's blowing that dust there that's being turned up from that piece of farm equipment right there. But again, these are the high velocity winds, so imagine that fire. Look at that. That is a great visual right there. So imagine a fire right there. Imagine how rapidly, again, that can be blown downstream. So again, that is a great visual right there of, again, those 45 and 50 mile per hour winds we're seeing up there. That really puts it into perspective. And also a little bit of new information coming in here to the forecast center, Phillip. It looks like, unfortunately, there may have been one trailer house up there in northwestern Oklahoma that may have gone up in flames. That would not be good news, but we are getting a report of that again, a trailer home up there, again, unfortunately may have been consumed by this fire. We don't have any reports of injuries with that, which would be good. The other piece of information we're getting here is that some of the crews now battling this fire, they're running short on water. Not because there's a water shortage up there, but again, they're actually having trouble getting water in to fight these flames. So that's not a good situation, but again, they're actually, the latest report we just got, scaling back their efforts slightly, only because, again, they are having trouble getting water into these flames. So not a good situation there at all. Phillip McGee, you're still live there. Again, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Keep going and go ahead and give us a play-by-play with what you're seeing there live.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, one of the folks that actually live up here, one of the residents Freedom area, they're doing an evacuation process on some family members that have some homes that are basically in the path of this fire. And so they're going to be taking and getting them out. So as I've been sitting here, I've been noticing vehicles off in the distance. There's it kind of drops off of a shelf from the top of the plateau up there down to the Cimarron River and then down to flat river land and then back up on the other side. And so, like I said, there's folks that have homes down inside of there, and that's why they put that evacuation plan in process. So back to you, William.
All right, Phillip, I really appreciate that update there again with the live stream there and the live report up there as well. So we're still gathering information here in the Forecast Center. Let me do this. Let me go and give everyone an overall perspective here as well. And again, let's go and switch back over to radar just to show you exactly the areas that we're talking about. And again, as we do that, again, you can see exactly where Phillip McGee is. This is his live GPS up there in northwestern Oklahoma. And again, the fire that we're talking about specifically, it's way up here. But again, with radar, you can actually see the smoke plume and see exactly where the fire is burning. You can see exactly where it originates right there. And again, you can see that smoke plume continuing to blow off there to the northeast. But again, this fire still out of control. And again, reports we're getting now is unfortunately the fire crews, again, having a little bit of trouble actually getting some water in to control some of those flames. So again, not a good situation. Again, our lead storm tracker, Phillip McGee, he's up there. He's got eyes on it. And again, you can basically see, again, what looks like dark clouds. This is all smoke, ash, and embers in the air. And again, this fire, unfortunately, continues to get just a little bit closer to Freedom. Evacuation orders are in place for Freedom. Phillip said some people have evacuated. He's also seen other people out there actually spraying down their roofs with water. So not a good situation developing up there, again, in the small town of Freedom. Phillip, what about the smoke and ash? Can you actually smell it in the air? Is it getting any closer to you? Is some of that plume, that smoke plume, getting a little bit closer to where you are right now?
Yeah, absolutely, William. And if you look at the stream, that area that we were just sitting at just a few minutes ago, we talked about it being a volatile area with the flames and that open flames and the cedar trees. And basically, that's exactly what's happened. Within the last few seconds, the smoke has really picked up in intensity. So it's basically rekindled over to the southeast flank of the main part of the fire. So the whole thing is just moving across in one great big huge line, but it is spreading further to the south and east, which basically puts Freedom in the damage path. Back to you.
All right, so not a good report there from lead storm tracker Phillip McGee. So again, this is still evolving up there in northwestern Oklahoma, folks. You are seeing it live right here in Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV. And again, basically it's an out of control wildfire. And again, this is very close to the small town of Freedom up there. Lead storm tracker Phillip McGee, he's on it. As we go back to the overview here again, you can see exactly where the smoke plume is, again, from this out of control wildfire up there. Again, 7, 8 agencies now actually working on it, but the reports we're getting into the Forecast Center now is, again, they're actually having trouble getting water to the actual fire. So that part right there is not good. Also getting reports of a small trailer home also basically being engulfed by the fire earlier. No reports of injuries so far, so that's good with no injuries. But again, we do at least have a report of potentially one structure now being affected by this. The other thing you have to keep in mind, folks, across northwestern Oklahoma, there's cattle, there's livestock, there's a lot of other things up there as well. So definitely, keep everything that's going on up here in northwestern Oklahoma definitely in your thoughts and prayers. Not a good situation unfolding. And again, this fire getting a little bit closer now to the town of Freedom, where we do have those evacuation orders in place. Let's go back to Phillip McGee's live stream and let's go and take a look and see exactly what he's seeing. He's getting a little bit closer there now to the fire. And in fact, Phillip, are you actually heading southbound now out of Freedom, back down a little closer to the fire? Or give us an update now with where you're heading.
Actually, William, I'm headed northbound, moving closer. Highway 64 is about 40 miles from me. I'm not going to make it up that far because the fire is going to pass across Highway 50 way before that ever happened. But I was talking again to one of the residents up here by the name of Tony Hope, and he was basically telling me that, there's cattle that's going to be involved in this. Unfortunately, a lot of homes that are back in the mountains there along the Cimarron River. And so, as a matter of fact, I mean, like you said, thoughts and prayers definitely need to go out to these folks, as this is just a major fire that is affecting this area up here. And so we're going to go back on Highway 64 and make a left-hand turn here in just a second. And we're going to be basically literally just a couple of miles away from the actual smoke that's going to be traveling across the highway. So.
Okay, Lead Storm Tracker Phillip McGee. Absolutely. Appreciate that update there, Phillip. And again, let's go and do this. Let's take a look at live wind gusts. This is part of the pieces of the puzzle as we're talking about fire weather conditions up there in northwestern Oklahoma. Part of it has to do with these wind gusts that we've been seeing up there today. These are live wind gusts here. And again, you can see exactly what part of the problem is. Again, 40, 45, 47 mile per hour wind gusts up there. And again, that's basically fanning this fire. So again, this gives this fire up there the potential to spread to the northeast at 40, 45, 50 miles per hour. And again, you can see why crews are having trouble containing it. Of course, they're having trouble getting water on it. And again, this is not a good situation, and this could last well into tonight. Of course, you remember about a week and a half ago, another fire that we had up across that part of the state. It actually burned out of Oklahoma into Kansas, but it was ongoing for multiple days. So we hope that is not the same situation here. But the big problem that we're actually seeing right now, the most critical thing that we're tracking is, again, that this fire is getting closer to the small town of Freedom there. And again, that's where Phillip McGee is. He's actually in the town of Freedom. I want to go back to the radar view here just real quick as well. Again, just to kind of give everybody a perspective of exactly where we're talking about. So as we switch from the live wind gusts, let's go to radar and let's zoom this in just a little bit more. And again, as we kind of take a closer view of this, again, here's the small town of Freedom. And again, what we're looking at with radar here, this is actual smoke in the air. These are ambers, and again, these are particulates coming up from the fire. But again, with radar, you can actually see exactly where the fire origin is. So again, this is where the fire is, right there. And again, this is all the smoke coming up and blowing away on those 45 and 50 mile per hour wind gusts. So again, you can see exactly where the fire spread. So that's, again, amazing things you can do with actual weather radar. And again, luckily this radar site, it's the Vanson X-Ray Air Force Base site, is close enough that again, we can actually see exactly where the fire is spreading, exactly where it's burning, and then again, the origin of it, and again, where that smoke plume is as well. So again, you can see it is getting closer there to the town of Freedom, and again, that's where that evacuation order is in place. So let's go back to Phillip McGee's live stream here. Again, it looks like he's got some fairly dramatic video coming back in. And Phillip, you're back on the live line as we get your video pulled up here. Go ahead and give us an update. It looks like you're actually driving through some fairly thick smoke now. Are you actually in the smoke plume itself now?
Absolutely, William. We're not breathing in any smoke whatsoever. The smoke is actually elevated above us, but just a tremendous view of what this fire is actually doing. We're going to be coming on top of a hill here in just a second, and we have a water truck that's in front of us. Now, whether they're involved with this or not, I'm not for 100% sure. I did see back closer to the Alabaster Caverns area, I did see one of the rural fire departments, Barber Fire Department, and they were making their way back to the south to try to get the south flank of this storm or this firestorm under control. But as we said before, with 45 mile, 48 mile an hour winds, I mean, virtually impossible, for them to get this thing under control. There's several different agencies that are up here right now that are combating this fire to try to get it under control, but the winds definitely are not cooperating at all, William, not at all. And so we are basically in the path of the fire. Now, it's going to be a little bit further to the west of Freedom, which is a good thing. There is a south flank that potentially could affect the town. I don't want to say that they're in this safe zone at all, period. However, and I'm going to pull over right up here, and we're going to shoot back to the southwest at the actual area that is being involved in the fire itself. So, I mean, you guys are going to get some great footage here in just a second once everything kind of catches up. And basically, this is it. We're in the path of the fire right now. It is rapidly approaching. If we stayed here for any amount of time whatsoever, and I want to say something else. If you look in the stream, you're going to see a truck with a slashers and a trailer going on. These are people that are going to be evacuating all of their livestock, horses, and whatever else out of the area up here in order to save them. And so, we've got cattle that are directly in front of us right now. We're sitting on top of a hill. Winds are probably going anywhere between 50 miles an hour, even more than that. And you can actually feel the heat coming off of this fire as it's approaching northeast.
Very dramatic pictures coming in there, Phillip. And again, we just saw that trailer come by. And again, like Phillip said, people are now evacuating, first of all, themselves, then also evacuating their animals as well. Again, we just saw that truck come by again with that horse trailer on the back. Again, those folks had to load up their horse and again, get out of there. And again, like Phillip said, there's other cattle out there. Again, you can see them there. And again, unfortunately, the thing you have to keep in mind, there's a lot of cattle, there's a lot of livestock up across this part of the state. So again, that's not a good situation for them, as again this fire is moving rather quickly, and then of course as this fire does get closer to structures, that's also not going to be a good situation either. But again, Phillip is basically in the smoke plume. So again, that's the fire right back there. He's now just to the west of Freedom, and again he is in the smoke plume right here, as again this fire is getting a little bit closer to the town of Freedom. As Phillip was in Freedom, again he reported seeing people. Some folks had tried to evacuate, others were actually on their roofs, again actually hosing the roofs down with water. And again, so not a good situation developing for our friends and our neighbor Oklahomans up there in northwestern Oklahoma. Now, we have had one report of one structure that actually went up in flames. It was a mobile home that again went up in flames earlier. No reports of any injuries with that, hopefully. And again, so that's the only one structure we've had a report of that has actually gone up in flames. But again, some of the new information we're getting into the forecast center is some of the authorities are actually having trouble getting water onto this fire, again, just because it's so remote up there as well. Now, Phillip, you're still on the live line with us. We're still looking at your live video. Incredible video here. Tell us again exactly where you are and go ahead and give us an update again.
Okay, William, I'm still sitting in the same location that I was, but I moved position. I'm looking more back to the west, and I wanted to show the folks that literally within a mile of where I'm at right now, the smoke is moving across Highway 64. And so, I mean, this is not just regular smoke. This is going to be thick, smoke, overtaking smoke that I would not recommend driving through at all. I see vehicles that are driving through, but just from prior experience, I would not recommend that whatsoever.
Phillip, just real quick, I'm going to show them your live GPS and show them exactly where you are here as well. So we've really zoomed this in tight. Here's Freedom, here's Camp Houston, here's Phillip's live GPS location. Again, he's in that plume, again, what you just saw with his live video. So there he is, he's in the plume. This is the fire origin right down here. This is where the actual flames are. This is what's burning. And again, as it burns, again, with those very strong southwesterly winds at 45 and 50 miles per hour, it's taking the smoke there, and again, it's blowing that plume up there to the northeast. But again, Phillip is right in it, and again, he's looking right back down there to the southwest at the actual fires. Again, it is now approaching him again from the southwest. Now, a little bit of piece of good news, and this doesn't take away from the danger at all. It is still very dangerous up there in the town of Freedom, but take a look at this. Again, it looks like the fire origin, again, just a little bit now to the west of Freedom. Now, that doesn't mean with these high velocity winds, 45 and 50 miles per hour, that the fire is still not going to come right through the town of Freedom. We're not saying that, but keep in mind there's still an evacuation order in place for the town of Freedom. But again, just by looking at radar here, the origin of the fire, again, maybe just a little bit to the west of Freedom, so that could be good news. But again, regardless, Phillip McGee, lead storm tracker there, has eyes on that fire. Phillip, let me go and switch back over to your live stream. Go ahead and give us another update on what you're seeing there.
Yeah, absolutely, William. I mean, it's just a phenomenal picture, not only for myself, but for the folks that's getting to watch this live. But this massive amount, I would hate to say how many miles wide this is right now, looking from west more towards the Freedom area and the Alabaster Caverns area, clear back to the west. It's going to be almost exactly, probably a half the width between Freedom and probably Buffalo.
Okay, really appreciate that update, Philip. It's getting darker and darker there, obviously, as the fire is getting closer and closer to your location. And again, just not a good situation unfolding there at all. Are you actually able to see, and you see some more people there with horse trailers. Again, those are probably people going to actually help people evacuate, again, their animals out of there. So again, not a good situation unfolding there at all. Philip, are you actually able to see the flames in your location where you are right now? Or are you actually able to see any flames?
Not at this point, because there's a lot of undulations up here. I mean, it's high spots because of the river and everything else, and so I mean, it's following the terrain. And that's one thing that we wanted to bring up, and I think we already have covered that. But, it'll drop down in the valley, it'll slow down a little bit because the winds may not be quite so high. But the minute that it burns back up on top of the hill, then it gains more speed and rapidly just starts to approach, and widen out. And, I mean, it turns even worse, to be quite honest with you. So as I'm looking back to the south flank of that fire again, once again, the smoke and everything else has really started to pick up, William. Now I can actually see flames. I'm going to reposition. I can see flames coming over the top of the hill right now. So I'm going to move over just a little bit. I'm going to try and get that to the folks live.
Okay, while Philip's positioning there, so this is Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV, folks. We're continuing to track, again, really this out-of-control wildfire up across parts of northwestern Oklahoma. This is very near the small town of Freedom. Real quickly, while Philip McGee is repositioning there, let's go and take a look at radar. And again, just to kind of orient you, this is where we're talking about, far northwestern Oklahoma, the Oklahoma City Metro down there in the far right-hand corner of your screen. Again, the fire up there, the red dot that says Philip McGee, that's his live GPS location. So again, that's the fire we're talking about up there in northwestern Oklahoma. This has been burning now for several hours. It's out of control. We have wildfire warnings in place, and we have evacuation orders in place for Freedom, the small town up there, as again this fire is getting quite a bit closer to Freedom. So this is live video we're looking at here from lead storm tracker Philip McGee. He's just to the northwest of Freedom. He's shooting back into the fire. Winds up across this part of the state, 45, 50 miles per hour. This fire is moving very quickly to the northeast. So let's go ahead and go back to Philip McGee's live shot here. Philip, I know you're repositioned. Go ahead and give us an update.
There's going to be just a little bit of delay, but if you look there where the where the smoke is at, and then there's kind of a cleared area, that's where the flames are starting to shoot up, William, and we can see that intermittently as we're streaming back to the south and west there. But, I mean, flames probably, 30, 40, maybe 50 foot high, coming up over the top of these hills. From what I can see visually, from where I'm sitting right now, it has nothing but pasture land and evergreen trees to fuel this thing as it makes its way north and east. Back to my west, basically the sun is being covered up completely. There's an orange hue with all of the smoke that's just infiltrated the air and, getting caught up in those upper wind streams and pushing all of that smoke plume up into Kansas. And so, just incredible things happening right here on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV live for the folks to see.
Yeah, Philip, and you're doing a great job, again, bringing us that video up there in northwestern Oklahoma. So again, very dramatic video continues to really happen up there. Let's do this. Let's go and take a look at the latest live wind gust up there. Now, part of the problem we've had today, folks, it has been the wind gust up there in northwestern Oklahoma. These are live wind gusts as of right now. And again, in Freedom, Oklahoma, where the fire is now approaching, a current wind gust of 49 miles per hour. That means this fire has the potential to spread to the southwest, to the northeast at 49 miles per hour. So again, that's why the crews are having trouble getting a handle on the fire. We've also had some reports that crews are actually having trouble getting water out to the fire as well. But again, this is an ongoing wildfire, and again, unfortunately, it doesn't look like there's going to be an end to this fire anytime soon. Now, I also want to show you this as well, just to continue to put all this into perspective. We're going to get right back to Philip McGee's live stream here momentarily. Philip McGee's live on scene, but let's go and take a look at this via radar, because this kind of gives us a different perspective here as well as we kind of zoom this in here a little bit. But again, you can see exactly where Philip McGee is. So this is his live GPS location. This is Freedom. This is where the evacuation order was in place for. But again, using weather radar here, we can actually see exactly where the fire is, where the fire origin is, where it's actually burning. So again, the fire is actually burning right in here. Okay, so on the back side of this, all the colors you're seeing here, this is the actual smoke plume, that's the embers, that's the particulates actually coming up from the fire. So here's the fire with the southwesterly winds again blowing all the smoke back. Phillip McGee right there in the smoke plume. But again, you can see here over the last 30 minutes exactly where this fire is spread and exactly where it has the potential to continue to burn. So again, really some amazing things there with the radar and also some amazing footage we're seeing from Phillip McGee up there on it as well. So let's go back over to Phillip McGee's live stream here. And Phillip, go ahead and give us an update now on again where you are there just to the northwest of the Freedom area.
Okay, William. Yeah, actually, I'm going to take and pull over one more time here and reposition. I'm going to be looking back to the west right now. But literally, I mean, within just a couple of feet in front of us, you can see that smoke blowing across the road. I mean, I am literally within probably 500 yards of the beginning of that smoke moving across Highway 64 to the.
Hey, Phillip, just real quick, and I hate to interrupt you there. It looks like on your live stream, it looks like your for whatever reason your stream is a little bit smaller. The actual video got fairly small, and I don't know if you can maybe resize that real quick.
Okay, it should be fixed now, but we're going to have to reposition here also pretty fast. I wanted folks to be able to get this, see how volatile this actual firestorm is right now, but I also want to be able to make sure that I have a good access out also. So I'm going to head back towards the east and then back down Highway 50 towards Alabaster Cavern and catch up with the south flank of the storm as it moves across just to the west of Freedom, Oklahoma.
All right, Phillip, really appreciate that update right there. So here's what we're going to do. While Phillip McGee is actually repositioning, folks, we've been live on this here since Oklahoma Weather Live at 4 o'clock, so for about an hour and a half now. So we're going to take a quick break. We don't have any new information coming in right now to the forecast center other than just this wildfire continues to burn out of control up there now just to the south and to the southwest of Freedom. We'll have another update coming up here in just a little bit. And then, of course, Oklahoma Weather Live at 7 p.m. coming up just a little bit later on this evening with a complete look at your forecast at that point in time as well. So keep it here with Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV. We'll keep you up to date with the latest live weather information for Oklahoma.